welcome back to the channel, Watchdogs. Today's video is proudly brought to you by Honor Your Oath Investigations. You know him, you love him, or at least you've seen him holding the most famous piece of cardboard in America. The myth, the man, the legend, Jeff Gray. Now, if you don't know who Jeff Gray is, shame on you. This man is basically the Babe Ruth of First Amendment activism. While most people waste cardboard boxes on moving day, Jeff has perfected the art of using his for a sign that simply says, "God bless the homeless vets." A simple message that somehow terrifies property managers everywhere. So let's set the stage. On August 29th, 2025, around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Jeff is out there doing what Jeff does best. Standing quietly, minding his own business, and somehow summoning the mighty wrath of the feelings police. Yup, property management apparently couldn't handle the sight of a man holding cardboard without breaking into a sweat. So what do? They call the sheriff's office, and get this, even the caller admits Jeff wasn't doing anything wrong. They just didn't like it. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this wasn't about the law. This was about hurt feelings. So buckle up, because we're diving straight into another episode of Law and Disorder, Insecurity Unit. Before we roll the tape and the phone call I personally made to the department the same day Jeff dropped his gem, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell, because you're not going to want to miss another BZ Watchdog exclusive. And hey, don't forget to swing by Jeff's channel, Honor Your Oath Investigations. Drop a comment over there that says, BZ Watchdog sent me. Let's show him some love. Now grab your popcorn, tighten your seatbelts, and welcome to today's Circus Show.
Sumter County Sheriff's Office, recorded line.
Over here in Lake Sumter, we have someone holding up a sign and waving people outside of the Lakeshore Cottages. His sign isn't asking for money, but it says he's homeless and God bless. And I've been asked to call you guys and see if we could get him some move. And he's not being rude or like he's just waving at people. I hate calling because that stuff doesn't bother me, but my bosses want moved or not to do that on the district property. So
Gotcha. All right, we're gonna get someone sent out over there. All right, and you said he was just out there holding up a sign.
yeah, the sign says something like God bless, and he's homeless. So he's not asking for money, so I don't even know what you guys can do, but I was just asked to call you guys and see if you could talk to him about going to a different location.
Gotcha, no problem. We'll send someone out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, boss. Good.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Sir, how you doing? I'm good. How are you, sir? Good, good, good. What's going on? Nothing. Nothing much. How are you doing? Good, good, good. Got there. So God bless the homeless. Are you asking anyone for money or anything? Are you asking anyone for money? Sir, what's your name?
No, I'm Deputy Calhoun with Sumter County Sheriff's Office. Can you turn and talk to me? Okay. So you're just going to pretend like you don't hear me?
God bless homeless veterans.
All right. So look, this is Village's Properties, and they're wanting you to leave. Okay? So you're being trespassed from this property.
This is a public sidewalk, though, isn't it?
So the Villages is a community. It's a gated community. So all of this area is owned by Villages Property Management. So
there's public and private property. Like I'm on a public sidewalk here.
So it's a semi-public area, and what that means is it's in a gated community that's owned by an actual company, and that representative of that company is telling me to come trespass you.
Who is the representative?
So it's the signer on the village's property management. I don't know their name right
I don't
offhand.
know their name.
Yeah.
Right.
So when they call, when one of their managers calls or their workers call and tell us that they want somebody trespass, we have what's called a agent agreement that's signed by the upper members of the village's property management, and that allows us, that requires us to trespass anybody that
If
they
you're
ask us
trespassing
to.
me, I'll leave. I don't want to be arrested. Okay.
No, we're not.
But
We're
what
not
am I
talking about that.
specifically trespass from?
So
I wasn't understanding. This is a public sidewalk.
So the areas in the villages like this, it's like a semi-public area. And what's meant by semi-public is, yes, you can drive in here and not be obstructed and use the village's area, but ultimately the property is owned by the villages, you know. You know what I mean?
So
Does
can I
that make
stay
sense?
here on the sidewalk and not go on the shopping center property or in the neighborhoods or anything? Just stay on the sidewalk.
So this is all part of the villages.
Okay, so I have to leave this area.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have like trespass in writing or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll leave if you want me to leave.
Yeah. So,
but can I get it in writing or something? Can you write it up?
Sure. Yeah. So that's why he was asking you for your driver's license or your name and date of birth, because we have to put that on the trespass.
I'd rather not get my driver's license.
So this isn't anything that goes anywhere in the public. It's an internal database that shows that we contacted you and we trespassed you from this property. What's that?
So you can go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So yeah, I'd rather not get my driver's license or my ID or anything. My name is Jeff. You can put that on there. I don't think I'm required to ID myself unless I'm committing a crime.
So we're just trying to identify you so that we can, because you're asking me for a paper trespass.
Right. I'd just like the paper trespass. You can put Jeff on it, but I'd rather not get my ID or anything like that.
So I'm not going to put Jeff on it and print it out. If we're going to do a paper trespass, okay, we're going to put your actual name. I'm going to identify you,
Am I required to give you anything? I'd rather not.
Okay. So if you'd rather not, then you can get in your vehicle and leave.
All right. How do you know I have a vehicle?
How
do you know I have a vehicle? You know what I'm saying? How do you know if I have a vehicle or not?
So are you refusing to leave?
No, I'm going to go ahead and leave.
Okay.
So I have to leave now?
Yeah.
All right. Let me grab my stuff over here. I got a solar charger over here.
Okay.
I'm going to grab that. Like you said, leave. How long? Do I have to, how far do I have to go? I'm not leaving for refusing. I'm just.
No, I got you.
Okay.
I got you. I'm
going to leave. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not refusing.
No, you're good. So essentially, all this area is all village's property.
What about out on the road out there?
So when you leave the villages, when it says, thank you, come visit again, then you're leaving the villages area, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. I want to make sure that I don't get arrested. So what are the perimeters or the boundaries? What's the scope of the trespass? Where do I have to go?
So you basically just have to leave the villages.
All right, the villages entirely. If I go out on 27, is that okay out there?
Yeah, there's not. So it's not so you have to just ask yourself a question, is this part of when you're thinking where can I be and where can I be? Where's public and where's not? If you're looking around and you're this is all pretty much all used by the villagers and the villages.
Yeah, I saw a village's official pickup truck came by earlier, with the little flashy lights on it, yellow lights. And I noticed it had a county, I think it looked like a county tag on it, it's a government tag. So that's why I was thinking this was public sidewalk. So, but anyway, I don't want to get arrested. I'm going to grab my stuff and I'm going to get out.
Watch that car.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wait for me.
Yeah, we'll hang out till he goes.
So get this, Watchdogs. Jeff Gray managed to get trespassed from a public sidewalk. Yeah, you heard that right. The same place you walk your dog, jog, or trip over cracks in the concrete. Apparently, sidewalks are now private property if they hurt someone's delicate little feelings. Now, Jeff being Jeff, he knew the score. He walked away. Because as much as he loves defending our rights, he's not looking to become the next contestant on Cops Wrongfully Arrested Edition. But here's the real kicker. Who in the world gave Dumb and Dumber over here a badge, a gun, and the audacity to think they can trespass somebody off a public sidewalk? Like, did the Academy forget to cover Constitutional Rights Day? Or maybe they just skipped it for a pizza party? Honestly, I'm not even sure these two went to the Academy. And oh boy, when this video hit the internet, you all absolutely melted the sheriff's phone lines. You rang those phones so hard they had no choice but to yank them off the hook. That's right, their new policy is see no calls, hear no calls, answer no accountability. So we thought, hey, let's take a little field trip. Let's ring them up and answer some real questions about laws, policies, and whatever training it actually takes to hand out badges in Florida. Spoiler, it's going to be a circus. Now, let's listen to the call with the sergeant.
All right. Is this Basil?
It is.
Okay. All right, sweetie. Hang on just a second, and let me put you through to a sergeant, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
You are quite welcome. Okay. Let me do this. It actually looks like he is on another phone complaint.
Okay.
So as soon as he gets off of that, we will call you back, okay?
Okay. Are you guys getting a flood of calls right now?
We've got quite a few.
Yeah,
we've actually got a pretty good screen.
It's a story that's breaking right now. That's why I was trying to get in to see if y'all had a press release of some sort about it before it got crazy with the phone calls.
Okay, all right. And are you with like a news company or?
I'm an independent journalist. I was just trying to get some questions, and I'm not from Florida, so I don't know things about a little bit about your department's policies and the laws. And I just kind of had a few follow-up questions. And if you had a press release,
and what is the story that we're talking about?
It's a man that was holding a sign on a public sidewalk that was under threat of arrest, trespassed by Deputy Calhoun. The individual's name is Jeff Gray, and he was holding a sign that says, "God bless the homeless vets." He wasn't asking for money. He was standing on a public sidewalk and was told that it was a private sidewalk, which I could understand if it was behind a gate or if it was in a shopping center where it was a private property, but a public roadway, which we all drive on, is public access, and so are the easements or sidewalks. So my story was, maybe the laws and policies are a little bit different from where I'm at in Texas, and I wanted to kind of follow up, because I know every state, every jurisdiction has different laws and policies, so I just wanted to get a few follow-up questions before I take this video and report on it. So I want to be able to touch base with another source with you guys.
Okay. All right, actually, hang on just a second. I think I just heard them say that he is on the call that he was on.
Well, sneak me in before all those people complain.
Yep, hang on one second. Let me make sure. Let me stick you on a real quick call. Let me just make sure, because I'm in another room. So hang on one second.
Hello, this is Basil.
Hi, so my name's Sergeant Dogs with the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. How are you today?
Good. I was actually holding on the other line, so that's kind of crazy. I guess you guys have been pretty busy, but...
I apologize.
No.
What's going on? How can I help?
Well, I'm sorry. One more time. Sergeant?
Dodge, like the truck. D-O-D-G-E.
Oh, if you can't ram it, dodge it. Got you. Okay. Sure, you've heard that joke a time or two.
I didn't pick it.
What's that?
I said I didn't pick it.
I got you. I mean, we I get it. Like I didn't pick my first name. I absolutely hate it, so I get it. I have a couple of questions for you. I'm calling from out of state. I was hoping you guys had a press release, but obviously you guys are just being made aware of what's going on, just like I was with the body-worn camera and the trespass warning I have. So I had a few follow-up questions. I'm calling from out of state, so my laws here are probably most likely different than yours in Florida. So the first question I have is, as far as in trespassing, what is y'all's law on trespassing? I mean, I'm sure there's probably a bunch of different items.
That's a really vague question. It's illegal to be on property without permission. That's a really super vague, kind of difficult question to answer just like that.
Okay.
But Florida statute lays out that trespassing, someone would need to be in violation of the crime of trespassing to be arrested. they would need to have been made aware through notice or through there's a handful of items that would make someone aware, either posted signage that would make them aware they're unauthorized to be or to stay on.
Okay, so private
property, if that makes sense.
So private property. Okay, what about as far as in trespassing laws on public property? Can you be trespassed from public property?
Any trespassing. So there's not any trespassing from public property. No, but I will tell you that if you're not familiar with the area, our area, there's a great deal of private property that exists here within our community, which, without being familiar with the area or knowing about this community, you would likely believe you're standing on public property, but unknowingly be standing on private property.
Okay, so if I look at the GIS survey and it says that you're on a public sidewalk, that would be that's not going to be different than what you think is private property if the GIS survey says it, correct?
Sure, that's a difficult one to answer. Obviously, we're not both staring at the same computer screen, or we
Sure.
may not even be looking at the same intersection.
Sure.
But if a sidewalk is public, then it's public, yes.
Okay.
Whereas if a sidewalk or multimodal path or shoulder is private property, then it's private.
Are you really familiar with the area? I don't know like what you do. I know you're a sergeant, but I don't know if you're you signed a patrol or investigations or public affairs. I don't know where you design, but are you familiar with the intersection of Fish Camp and Lakeshore Drive?
I am familiar with that intersection, yes.
Okay, because according to the GIS survey, it shows that the side of the sidewalk he was standing on, more of that side was public than the opposite side of the road, which goes into, I believe, a shopping center, which I know it's open to the public, but it's also private property at that point. So if the people of the management company wanted you to leave, you would have to leave. So my question is that, to your best ability and your knowledge, just pertaining to you, I know you can't answer for other people, but to your knowledge, is that corner public property on the sidewalk?
So I hate to answer that because I hate for my words to be misinterpreted. Right now, I know that the issue at hand that you're concerned about is being reviewed now. Okay. And I can't speak to that review process and where that's at and how that's going. And I don't want to say, oh, that corner is or is not, or that portion or that section. It's very difficult to state definitively, just based off a telephone call, what you see, what I see. So we are currently reviewing that incident.
Okay, fair enough. My next question is, you're obviously a sergeant. How long have you been on the department? Or, I'm sorry,
I've been at the sheriff's office for...
In law enforcement. I should say that.
In law enforcement?
Well, in Florida, yes, sir.
I've been in law enforcement. In law enforcement in Florida?
Yes, sir.
Been a law enforcement officer in the state of Florida for 11 years.
Okay. In the academy, if you can remember back that far, I know it's been some time. Do they educate you guys in the academy on private versus public property, or is that something you learn on the job?
That's a great question. Without reviewing curriculum, I'd hate to state definitively to say, yeah, that's something they covered, and then go flipping through the book and not actually seeing what's there. And I'm in a kind of a special situation case there because my accreditation, my certification to the state of Florida didn't come through a Florida academy. Okay. Which is a unique situation, but there's I transferred from out of state, so it's a slightly different situation there. So for me to speak definitively about Florida's curriculum, I wouldn't want to answer that.
Fair enough.
On the record, let's say that.
You come from out of state. I'm not going to hold you to it. That's why I asked how long you've been in Florida, because I had a feeling you were coming from out of state. I know some officers transfer for lifestyles or other things. But do you guys have ongoing training within your department as far as in teaching these officers public versus private?
I do. Is there if there's So if there's any other information at this point, I'm going to refer you to our public records.
Oh, I did, and she didn't have a first-hand clue. But my question is, do you guys teach constitutional rights? Do you guys, I mean, at least go or do you guys just basically hire dumbasses, give them a badge and a gun, and tell them to go violate people's rights? Because it sounds to me like at this point you don't even want to answer some basic questions. So I don't know what kind of heat you guys are getting on these other phone calls, because I was on hold for, I don't know, gosh, probably about 20 minutes before, if not longer, before I got a hold of you. And the lady I spoke to before, she was a civilian and had no clue about anything, because she wasn't even an officer. Because I asked for the public information person. I asked for a press release. So I'm guessing you guys are just now finding. I'm from Texas. I live in Texas. I have a lot of the same problems with officers here who don't know the difference between public and private, and they seem like they get.
Hey, I think if someone is exercising their First Amendment right and they're doing that clearly on public property, I can say that our agency is not going to stop someone from doing that. There's some details here about what is public and what is private that it complicates that matter and that issue. And I don't know what city in Texas you're from, but whatever city in Texas you're from, it's very clearly to see this is a sidewalk and this is that business's parking lot. However, here in the villages, a great deal of what's private falls within the control of the Community Development District, which is a private entity, much like it's a special district as opposed to a municipality or a local governing jurisdiction, if that makes sense.
Well, public is still public.
I know.
Regardless if it's a road that connects to public access, if it's not a private road, it is still public. If it's not behind a gated community, which you have to go through all kinds of homeowners association laws. I went through this on a trespassing thing and beat it because they didn't know the difference between public and private. I was literally asking questions and got arrested for it, and they were in the wrong. So my whole thing is,
gotcha. Do you know if anyone was arrested in this situation?
A very similar situation, yes, sir. It was in front of a gated community, just like so. They have, beyond their gates, they have certain rules and they call them covenants. They're like ordinances, kind of.
Covenants, yeah.
Yes, sir. They regulate beyond their gate. They don't regulate outside their gate. Now, there is a certain amount of property that's specialized and zoned with the permission of the city.
Sure.
But the thing is, typically outside the gate, it is within so many feet, and where that intersection is, anybody can drive down there. That is not private. Unfortunately, it seems like the people.
That sounds like standing right outside of a military base.
Yes, sir. And you know what?
If you're outside of it, you're outside of it.
Yes, sir. And there may be only so many feet in front of it to obstruct the gate. Now, if the gentleman was obstructing the roadway, I could completely 100% understand it. But standing on a corner waving...
You said he was arrested?
No, he was threatened to be arrested if he didn't leave that public sidewalk. And when I don't know who the other officer was, the other deputy that was with him. I don't have that information. But in the body-worn camera footage that I have, they started asking questions, and at that point he turned around. I don't understand why those officers didn't do a drive-by, observe whether there was any kind of criminal activity going on. Now, there's a case law called Florida versus JL. It actually it's a Supreme Court ruling that originated out of Florida. And you got to have a credible witness, and the officers got to observe criminal activity. I mean, now, don't get me wrong, you can conduct a field interview. That's consent. But
I don't know that. I mean, obviously, we're gonna argue about a hypothetical situation.
No, it's
when
not hypothetical.
The owner or representative of a private property complains about a person being on the property that they don't want there,
you drive by and check it out.
I'm under the assumption that that's a situation, and you feel like it's something different.
It is.
But I don't think that a law enforcement officer would need to do a drive-by and determine if there's anything criminal occurring before they're able to make contact.
No, I didn't say that.
A representative from a private entity.
I didn't say that.
But I mean, if we're operating under the assumption that the property where the individual was standing is indeed private,
well, that'd be a different story. That's because now at that point you're observing criminal activity, but you also haven't verified the source. You haven't talked to the actual individual. I mean, there was a relay of somebody saying that my boss wants to trespass. That's not credible. That's a violation of Supreme Court case law that came out of Florida. My whole thing is ongoing education and training, and officers aren't getting it.
Sure.
They are becoming robots until they get in front of an internal affairs investigator, and then all of a sudden they're the ones answering the questions and looking like dumbasses. My whole thing, Sergeant, look, you say you've been doing this 11 years. I wanna see if there's good cops. I want good cops to be out there. And that goes with training and not violating people's rights. You guys took an oath to the badge when you guys swore an oath to get that badge. And I'm not asking for a whole lot. I'm not asking them to run into a burning building. I'm not asking them to go throw themselves in front of a flying bullets like down in Uvalde at the school or any Parkland or any of these things. I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking that they respect the rights of citizens who are standing and exercising them. If they refuse, that they don't want to talk and not cooperate with questioning, the officers shouldn't get butthurt and get an attitude. I know you have not seen the video. I also know that right now it's under review now at this point. But I'm guessing you're probably a patrol sergeant. You're probably out there, and 11 years on the job. These guys need to be learning in roll call or something, because I feel that there's no ongoing training anymore. And you coming from out of state, I have no idea where you came from. You sound like it was probably a more reasonable state than Florida. These deputies and officers are just not getting the training. They don't have any common sense. They're all just robots following orders. I mean, I call up, I tell my employee to call you guys to run somebody off, and they just do it. Why aren't we actually honoring the oath and the Constitution and maybe calling a supervisor before we do something stupid? That's really all I'm asking is why didn't they call a supervisor before they made a mistake under the assumption that was private property? Why didn't they verify? Why did they just make a decision without actually conducting an investigation? It seems to be going on.
And I'm really hopeful that our review of the situation and the investigation that happens internally will flush that out, bring that to light. And I think this is, if we're able to show that the deputy there made a mistake, I hope that the agency as a whole would pick that up and learn from it. Or if we're able to determine that the deputy was not in error, then that may also educate people about the issues, because this is a really unique location and kind of something different, if that makes sense.
Well, I understand that. And the thing is, sir, the GIS survey would show where the property line is. Unfortunately, the property lines I'm looking at, they don't control the roadway or I believe it's like probably within the 6 or 12 feet of the road. That's all maintained, because they don't get out there and maintain. That's private property. They don't go out there and maintain it, and it's public roadway. Private property is responsible for maintaining their own stuff. They're not maintaining those streets. I guarantee you the city of the villages there is the city are out there paving the roads. They're putting in the light signals. They're putting in the street signs. And let me ask you this, sir. If you're an officer and you drove down Lakeshore Drive and I'm standing out there on the side, I'm sorry, if I was driving down and you saw a traffic infraction, you're able to pull me over, right?
Traffic infraction occurring in the roadway?
On Lakeshore Drive, the area that we're talking. If I'm driving my vehicle, I'm driving my vehicle down that roadway, and I say I forget to turn the turn signal on 100 feet before I'm supposed to turn. Do you have authority and jurisdiction to conduct a traffic stop on me?
On that roadway, yes.
Okay, then that is a public roadway, sir.
Hey, sure. I'm not. There's no part of me is at all questioning the roadways being public. Know that. Do you have a pen handy? I'll give you our contact information to our records department.
Sure. And I have another question.
Which is also our PIO.
And sure, and it's Michelle. I know. I already talked to her. Go ahead.
Oh, you already talked to her. Sure.
Yeah. What's that number again, real quick?
That phone number is 352.
Okay.
569.
Okay.
1600. That's the main number for the sheriff's office. If you ask to speak to our records division,
okay,
or ask to speak to our PIO,
okay,
you'd get her.
Okay, so there's no direct line; they just transfer you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, sir, and I'll let you go after this. I'm not trying to beat you up, but I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be mean. That's not me. But I like to get questions answered.
And I hope you think I've been civil.
You have, and I don't think you've done anything wrong. I mean, I know you're dancing around it, but I understand the situation now. I was trying to trying to catch somebody with some of these questions before the situation was made aware, to kind of find, so I can break with my story. So my question is when is, well, actually I have two questions. One, who's like your public relations person? Who's going to be the person that when there's an incident that happens, who gets out there and speaks in front of the camera or puts a press release out? Who is that person?
Are you a member of the media?
I'm an independent journalist.
Oh, all right. Maybe I should refer you to our public information officer.
Well, that's what I originally called.
Number, right?
Well, I originally called for a press release or to speak to the public relations, and I've been getting bounced on and been put on hold.
She's probably the best person she's probably the best person to speak to then. Really. Okay. And she would likely, in regards to media relations and sharing information about an incident, she would probably be your best point of contact.
What's her name?
Her name is Michelle.
No, sir. I already spoke to her. She's clueless as hell. She's the wrong person.
She's the person now.
Yeah, she's the wrong person to be working that. I've already spoke to her. I had to hang up and call back and actually speak to someone that could answer some questions. I got the answer was, I'm not an officer. I don't know. So I didn't like that answer. So yeah, I believe you probably should get a new public relations person. That's how I ended up getting you, and then you called back, and because I was still on hold. So that's how we got to this conversation. But I mean, look, I really do appreciate, taking the time and answering those questions. Like I said, if I was in Florida, I would already probably know these things. I don't really cover Florida all that much unless something like somebody standing on a street corner that if he would have pushed it, it probably gone a little bit more south for you guys, but I'm guessing you're already getting a lot of heat with the phone calls. So I will let you.
Again, I would encourage you to consider that the situation here is different than really any other community elsewhere in Florida because of how this community was established. Again, it's not a municipality, it's not a county government, it's a special district.
Yeah,
it's a really kind of strange thing.
Yeah, it's unincorporated. That's why you guys patrol that area.
It's unincorporated, yes. However, it's a special district. So a great deal of the property that you may assume to be public property there is not. It's a wild place.
Well, the GIS surveys either way, the county, the city, or the state would control it. It's a public right-of-way. Thing is, it's not restricted. It's not private. Everybody has access to it. You can't tell someone they can't walk on that sidewalk unless there is actual private. Now they could, and I've seen this happen. I've seen it down here in Texas. They could annex that road to where they assume that road, and they put up signs and gates, then restrict access there, and it would be controlled through maybe like a security guard allowing access to a residence or a shopping center.
Sure.
But until that happens, that's a public right-of-way. It's GIS survey, and it's something that the county would maintain. Since it's not a city, you said it's a district, so I'm guessing it'd be considered a county or district that controls that. But yeah, it's because according to this, it says the village is Florida, so there's some sort of municipality there, some sort of.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I need. I'm good. My only concern is, or I should say concern. My question is, do you guys have an idea when you'll be releasing a press release on this? Would it be today or sometime next week?
I do not know. I will inquire, but I'm sure at some point that information will press release will be made. I can't tell you when.
No, but can I leave my email address or something where I can have a press release
I'd encourage you to reach out to Ms. Kezi.
Okay.
She's the PIO, and when that press release is made, she would be the person to coordinate with.
Okay, no worries. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Hey, absolutely. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye now.
And there you have it, Watchdogs. Sergeant Dodge. And let me tell you, he sure lived up to his name. Dodging my questions left and right. Copsplaining his way through like a pro. Honestly, I don't know if I just interviewed a sergeant or auditioned someone for the next season of Dancing Around the Truth. But hey, the takeaway's clear. when it comes to constitutional rights, apparently they missed that day at the academy. Or maybe they traded in for a donut seminar. Either way, it shows. Now, before you go, don't forget to smash that like button like a deputy smashing common sense. Subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next BZ Watchdog exclusive. If you really want to help keep this circus rolling, hit that join button, become a channel member, or toss a donation down below. Links are in the description. Oh, and speaking of the description, I'll even leave you the sheriff's office contact information just in case you'd like to politely remind them what the Constitution is. So that's it for today, Watchdogs. Sergeant Dodge may have dodged my questions, but he couldn't dodge the truth getting out. Sunlight is still the best disinfectant. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay sarcastic, and always honor your oath. I'm BZ Watchdog, and I'll catch you in the next video.
BZ Watchdog.